They embarrassed you. They embarrassed you, and they showed and care how you feel. They didn't care about that. Welcome back to another Real Talk video, Brother Grace. This is a video response back to you, to the musicians. Whether you're a musician, choir director, praise team leader, etc. Coming from the old school type of musicians and what we came up in, like you say, especially when you talk about dealing with choirs. What I see nowadays is they too timid. And I'm not talking about everybody, but a lot of people that's in the music now, that's in churches, even if you're not talking about church musicians, they are very timid, and you can't say what you want no more. Of course, that don't apply to all of us, because the ones that don't care, we don't care. When I was coming up, oh man, dealing with choirs. Let's just start right here with a choir director. If you had a rough choir director, that choir director didn't care how you felt. Them choir directors back then, if you couldn't get your parts right, they would embarrass you. Not just in practice, they would embarrass you on Sunday morning. I've seen this so much, especially in the soprano section. When you can't get them notes right in rehearsal, especially rehearsal, they will call you out, front you out, call your name. Y'all two, step back. It's you. Sister Emma, you're terrible. Sister Emma, you flat. Sister Emma, you might want to be on the kitchen committee or something, because it's just not in you. Singing is not your calling. That's what I grew up in. You could have rehearsal after rehearsal. You had people, especially the older generation, they would just tell you flat out, baby, you can't sing. You might want to find something else to do. And you took it. Now, man, see, last year I talked about our generation of growing up and how the older generation will say what they want to us and they didn't care how we felt. But see, you can apply that also with music and being a musician, because I came up with them hard ones, man. And this brother, did you learn the song? They not going to keep going back and forth with you. See, now you can't hurt their feelings now. I seen this not too long ago, man. Dude just, I mean, you almost got it. You just, if that was me back then on key, man, what the hell is you doing? Get it right. You know what? You can be replaced. Y'all give me another keyboard player on the phone. Cause this here ain't gonna work, because musicians get replaced a dime a dozen. But when you know you got a great musician, a musician that's skillful, here we go right here, a musician that does their homework, a musician that knows the difference between practice and rehearsal, that type of musician, the ones on point like that, see, they're the ones that they keep around. See, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not talking less of other instruments, like the basses and the pianos. Well, let me say it like this. Most people be like this: as long as I got my keys, the bass player can be replaced. That drummer right there can be replaced. That lead guitar player can be replaced. You notice a lot of times it's hard for them to say my keyboard player gonna be replaced. That's why a lot of times, but you do see keyboard players be replaced. But a lot of times you'll see the same keyboard player, but you'll keep saying, man, what happened to old boy on the bass? But then you'll see where the bass player is the MD now, and the bass player is firing everybody. You fired. It just depends on who the MD is. So my point is, when you grew up in them old school churches and old school bands, see, I watched my old man. I watched bands when I was too little to be a part of them, and then when I was able to be old enough to start playing and getting a taste of being in a band and playing with churches and different churches and just traveling here and traveling there, it wasn't no joke. They didn't play no games with you. So the one of the big differences I see between now and back then is they don't embarrass you like they used to back then. They was embarrassing you on Sunday morning. They would unplug if you couldn't get it right. What is he doing over there on that keyboard? They go over there and snatch your they'll snatch your 1/4-inch cable out in the middle of the song. If you ain't singing right, unplug them. But see, we got so much technology now. That's why I say I came up with them B3s and them C3s and them Fender Rolls and them Wurlistons and before all this stuff that we see now, where you had to literally play, you had to literally sing. I mean, when you look at it, technology, like I said in my old video, has handicapped So many musicians. Because now you don't have to play your butt off on a lot of stuff. Now you just hold down the button. Or there's so much that's going on now, you don't even have to, do what you used to do. Far as like, and I'm not knocking the new school, y'all. I'm just saying the way we had it was rough. Like I told y'all in another video, when we was learning music, see, you got all this lyrics.com now. Man, we actually sat down and wrote out lyrics. Wasn't no getting the lyrics online. What online? When I was an MD, man, when I started learning a lot about the internet, I was like, man, but before that, I was writing down what they saying right there. We used to sit down and listen lyric by lyric and rewind that tape deck over and over. What are they saying right here on this part right here? What are they doing right here? What are they doing on the keys right here? It's totally different now. See, old school musicians will really appreciate this video because they know where I'm coming from. When you literally had to sit down and listen at the lyrics, write out the lyrics, listen at the music, learn the music. I mean, that's why when I talk about, when I did in the video, should the minister of music get paid? Musicians get paid. The Bible is clear on musicians getting paid. But people say, well, that's just Old Testament. Because you're not just paying for time, you're paying for skill. You're paying for the skill of that musician. That musician that's skillful. When they played in the Bible, that was their only job at the temple. And the disrespect I see nowadays, you got a lot of timid musicians. They very timid. They're like, I use my boy Dennis Ford, Derek Clark. I use all of them for an example. When we was coming up playing, you couldn't just play. You had to learn. That's why them boys are so dynamic down them drums. I'm just using them for drummers. Big Bobo. Man, Albert Jackson, shout out to all of y'all. We had to get in that room and be drilled. And see, when I hooked up with Albert Jackson, a fantastic voices of harmony back then, when I met Bobo, T. Lee, all of y'all, man, y'all know who y'all are. Man, I would get in there and close that door. We used to rehearse at an old movie building. Sure Hands Movies, I'll never forget. And when Big Brother get in there, Big Brother Albert get in there, cut that light off, you better not hit not one wrong note. He would separate his singers. You go over there in that corner. You go over there in that corner. He had a way of doing things so they wouldn't, mess up with each other, being so close to each other. He had a way of teaching, even on the piano. He taught me a lot of chords through his lead guitar. Just like I always give hats off to my brother Greg Clark. Greg Clark showed me a whole lot of chords through the lead guitar. So we talking about endless hours of rehearsing and playing and going home and studying. And that's why they could talk to me. Back then, oh man, I just took it. You had to learn how to be disciplined first anyway. You had to learn how to play your instrument. And if you was hitting wrong notes and couldn't get it right, that's get them off. My uncle made the Most High rest his soul. Uncle Jerry did not play. Uncle Jerry would kick anybody off. They couldn't get their tempo right on them drums. And the drums and the bass, that's the foundation of it anyway. When they wasn't on one accord, they would go get somebody else, get him off. Like right now, I done seen it on service. Get him off. So that's the difference nowadays, man. They real timid now as musicians, not all. And they would embarrass you back then versus now. See, we had to take correction, like the old school would say. You better be able to take this correction, and that's what made us into the musicians that we are now. We took in that. That's why I love criticism. I always love tough criticism because they ain't gonna do nothing but make me better. But the thing about me, I did my homework. That's why I came on YouTube to answer your question. That's why I came on YouTube and just gave my heart with all these tutorials, just trying to bless everybody. Because what I went through as a musician, trying to learn stuff the hard way, when there was people way advanced to me, they wouldn't take time out to tell me nothing or teach me nothing, like they made the cars up themselves, or they back then when I was coming up, they would cover up they hands. Man, what you doing on that organ, man? Oh, no, man. Don't be trying to steal my cars. They ain't your cars, no way. I hated that growing up. And all that backing up the preacher stuff, man. I just, once I started learning, but here's the thing, and I'll close with this. Here's the thing that made me start turning and stick out different. I learned what being a musician truly was. I had to learn what ministering was. So before I started touching the keys, I needed to know how to minister. I needed to know the word, because knowing the word is what was going to make me a better musician anyway. It was already going to humble me. And that's why I started giving my heart out on here to all of y'all. Shout out to all of y'all. Y'all all know who you are. I'm not going to call names, but when I started meeting humble musicians like Jamal Hartwell online, may the Most High rest his soul, not Jamal, but AG Praise. I forgot where AG was located, but me and AG Praise hit it off. We lost our brother AG Praise a few years back. We lost Mitty Man. We just lost a great another brother, Ramon Hearns. Ramon Hearns, we call him Mon. Mon, if you know anything about Dallas, Texas, and Full Gospel, we just lost Mon. We lost. Oh man, we done lost so many, man. When I talked to Bobby Sparks, the last time I saw Bobby Sparks was at Freeman's, and Bobby was there, and Sean Martin was there, and you know we lost Sean Martin too, and it's just so many we have lost, man. That's why we got to just do what we can, y'all, and just continue to press on and encourage each other. But as a musician, you're gonna learn you can't play with everybody. So shout out to the musicians. Some of these musicians are very cold, but they very cocky and they very arrogant. And that's a lot of them ones I'm talking about that you can't tell them no, they get too timid. They sweat all up, they ready to fight. But back then when we was coming up, man, them old school musicians, it was what it was. They didn't care about how you felt. And you took it in. And you they made you mad, but you appreciated it, and it made you who you are right now. And I'm saying to say that also with the Most High. The Most High first, of course, but putting them type of men, and see, they wasn't just musicians. They was also like father type figures, even though some of them was drunks. You know, they was a headache and a half. They was male hoes, but a lot of them, they taught you some things as a man and as a musician. So on that note, that's all I want to say. A lot of them was heavy smokers, you know. A lot of them died behind drinking, cirrhosis of the liver. A lot of them died with lung cancer. But they was hard up men, man, and they drilled you in that room with that music. They drilled you with singing. So, and I remember when I used to go to them some of them workshop rehearsals. Oh man, you'll see anything in there. Pastor Cole, you know what I'm talking about. Anthony Hall, you know what I'm talking about. Shout out to the musicians on her. Auntie Pam, you know what I'm talking about, because Pam, you're a musician too. So y'all, with that being said, I love y'all, and y'all have a blessed day. Shalom.